Grab a seat, folks. We're about to get serial. Wait, serial? Note to self, don't let Kevin edit the video scripts. For all my viewers outside of the US that may not know, February was Black History Month here in the States. I've been wanting to do a video for this month for the past couple of years, but I could never find the right topic to cover. Until now. I originally had this whole spiel detailing how The Lion King was my favorite Disney film and how I was looking forward to seeing Jon Favreau's interpretation and throwing some shade at the babies complaining about how Disney's making too many remakes, #childhood ruined. But after seeing how long-winded that segment got, I realized that it would distract from the main point and get way off topic. Let's just get to the nitty-gritty here. Back in November, Disney announced the cast of their upcoming Lion King remake, including some of the cast members that were already announced before. And while I'm not too thrilled that Beyonce is voicing Nala, since Nala's my favorite character and Beyonce isn't the best actress, let's just say that.
You listen to me. You know exactly who this is. You came into my house. You touched my child. You think you're crazy? I'll show you crazy. Just try me, bitch.
I was still very impressed by the casting choices. Donald Glover as Simba, the lead actor from 12 Years a Slave as Scar, T'Chaka and Ayo as Rafiki and Shenzi. It was just an all-around great job. But the one thing that made me feel both excited and relieved was this. The cast was predominantly black. I shared the cast list around my various social circles, including my Patreon Discord server, commenting on how it was a great decision on Disney's part to have a predominantly black cast. But then I got a few responses that asked one question. Why? Why was the color of the cast important? Why is representation such a big deal? The color of a person's skin shouldn't matter, right? That last sentence was the nucleus of most of these arguments, and when you look at the statement by itself, it sounds like a reasonable one. When you hire someone for a job, the most important factor should be their ability to perform. But, as I keep saying, when you bring context into it, the situation gets a lot more nuanced. So we're gonna look at the issue of representation within the context of both the movie itself, then branching off into Hollywood as a whole. So let's start off with the movie. When Disney Animation gets into a project, they really get into it. The team behind The Lion King didn't just want to make a movie that took place in Africa. That wasn't enough for them. They wanted to create an authentic African experience, as authentic as a movie about talking animals can be at least. And this is evident from the very first scene. The imagery shown in Circle of Life wasn't something the artists just made up from their imaginations or Google searched for. These were locations they studied from their research trips to Kenya, and the locales weren't the only thing they studied. The production team dove headfirst into African music, wildlife, and culture. They hired Hans Zimmer to do the score based on his work in previous films with African settings, and the songs beautifully blend African instruments with modern lyrics. The culture is such an important part of the film's identity that the special edition DVD came with a whole disc of featurettes detailing the work put into emulating the African environment as much as possible. This investment in the culture was also present, in varying degrees, in future sequels and adaptations, especially the Broadway musical, which also had a predominantly black cast. If one of the major complaints about the live-action Disney adaptations is that they lack the spirit of the original, then the decision to have a majority black cast in a movie that's meant to emulate African culture should be seen as a step in the right direction, especially in an era where people are more vocal with their desire for representation in mainstream media. And this is the perfect time to jump into the bigger picture here: representation in Hollywood. According to a study from the University of Southern California, the percentages of racial demographics in the top 100 films hasn't made any significant change from 2007 to 2014. Only 17 of the top 100 films of 2014 featured a non-white lead or co-lead, and that statistic has remained stagnant throughout that 7-year period. There was some good news though. When only looking at the top animated films from 2014 and comparing them to 2007's, there was an increase in minority representation by about 25%. Now, while over half of these characters came from only one film, The Book of Life, even when this film is removed from the equation, it is still a pretty significant increase of about 12 to 13%, give or take. And with movies like Moana, Big Hero 6, and Coco coming out in the years since, we're still getting a more diverse set of characters that kids can look up to.
But Sketchy, I thought that you didn't have to be like someone in order to look up to them.
Well, Kevin, no, you don't. It is true that you don't have to be the same race or even the same gender as someone in order to look up to them, but there is still value in seeing people that look like you or come from the same background as you achieve greatness. As a kid, I never really cared for superhero cartoons until Static Shock came out. Seeing a cartoon about a geeky black kid becoming a superhero and not fitting into the stereotypes of black boys his age drew me into the show, and once I started watching, I was able to enjoy everything else it had to offer. In spite of how much good representation can do, however, talking about it does pose a risk of backlash. I was legitimately scared when making this video because a lot of times when statements are made about minority representation in mainstream media, there's a pushback from a very loud group of people that complain, "Why do people always talk about race? Why can't a movie just be a movie? This is all just a bunch of SJW crap." All because someone makes the simple statement that it feels good to see people that look like you get a spotlight. Representation is a powerful tool, and between Black Panther, A Wrinkle in Time, Lion King, and the upcoming adaptation of Fahrenheit 451, I think Hollywood is finally starting to understand that, and hopefully this will continue with other minorities. Disney recently announced the lead actress for the live-action adaptation of Mulan, and many people breathed a sigh of relief because they actually picked an Asian actress to play the role, and we can eventually reach a point where this is the norm rather than the exception. I'm looking forward to watching the new Lion King movie, and I can't wait to see what all these talented voices can bring to the table. I swear though, if Nala gets up and starts singing all the single lions, I'm walking right out of that theater. Happy Black History Month, everyone. Today's topic was something that I was really passionate about, and I want to thank you guys for allowing me to share that with you. So what did you think of this video? Swarm that comment section below or bug me on social media. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.